Hello everyone, today we're going to be learning about how to program the lighting console. This is one of those necessary skills that a lighting designer has to learn. Remember that lighting design is not only about the art of storytelling, but there are practical skills in the technology area that are an essential component to it as well. So we use the ETC family consoles here at the U of A. They all have different sets of keys on the faceplate or the face panel, which is what we call the console's physical buttons, but they all share the same language underneath, which is known as EOS. So whether you're programming on an element or an ion or an ion XE or a GEO, or they have a console called the EOS itself, the underlying software is all the same. And the only thing to learn on each different console is where the keys are, once you've learned what the software, how it works. So this part, or this unit of the class, is going to provide an overview of the console and programming for conventional fixtures, movers, and LED fixtures. So if you're new to programming a lighting console, if you've never seen one before, hopefully we're going to give you the tools so that you can get in and program your own lighting cues. We're going to get you the basics that are going to get the programmer up and running. So here are our learning objectives. After we get through this unit in the class, you should be able to patch conventional and multi-parameter fixtures, work with channels in live mode. We'll tell you what channels are. Work with basic display navigation on the screen, record, select, and delete groups, cues, how to record, play, and delete cues, understand tracking versus cue only, how to control non-intensity parameters, kind of at a very basic level, how to apply additional cue features like delay, auto follow, and loop, how to use park efficiently, evaluate and make changes in the setup menu, and how to create simple step-based effects. And you'll likely be learning at first on the Nomad version of the software, which is like the home version. So you'll be able to download it onto your own computer through the ETC website, and that link is in Blackboard. So once you download it and open it, it's going to look exactly like it does on a lighting console with very specific keys to it. So your own keyboard, though, has different buttons on it. So likely one of the first things you'll need to learn is, what do the keys on my keyboard do as different than the keys on an ion console, for example? So those are known as hotkeys, and we have a list that's also on Blackboard that you'll be able to download it. So I recommend download that, have that next to you when you are programming. So, you know, things like if we should say, you know, channel 20 at 50%, you'll know which button do you press to get the at key. It's actually an at key on the ion, but at home it's the A. And there are lots of shortcuts like that that we'll teach you how to do, and having that shortcut key list is going to be very important. So, okay, what we're going to do now is take a look at the console, and we're going to learn its menu system. ETC calls it the CIA. Not that CIA, the CIA, or the Central Information Area. And that's where you open files, where you save files, and this is also how you shut the console down at the end of the day. So let's take a look. Okay, now we're back, and we're going to take a look at the ETC Nomad software. So this is something that you have downloaded, and once you open it up, we're going to take a look right here. And whenever you double click on the ETC family welcome screen, you'll get this. What you'll want to click here is the offline mode. And if you give it a moment, the ETC software will boot up. On the console itself, there may be something else that you'll choose. It'll likely be primary because it's the primary console. Could also be backup if you're in one of our university theater spaces. So here we've opened a brand new file. This is beta software, so we'll just click OK. What you'll see when you first turn on the EOS software, you may get a screen that looks like this, that has a whole bunch of channels on it, and you'll see that they're grayed out. These channels are available, but they're not patched yet. And so once we start patching channels into the console, then you won't have so many gray ones, and we can select a view that only shows the channels that we've patched in on the console. What I want to take a look at today are a couple of different things. The CIA, which is the Central Information Area, and the notion of tabs. So you'll see down here where my mouse is that we're in the Live Summary tab, which gives you a summary of the channels, or it could also say a live table. PSD, and these are already loaded in for us. PSD, this is the playback display status, and this is where all your channels will start showing up. Your cues will start showing up whenever you start writing light cues. A virtual keyboard also pops up. We talked earlier about the shortcut keys and how to make your keyboard do what the Ion keyboard does. Rather than that, you can also click this virtual keyboard, which not only is it in a tab right here, say I'm in PSD, up here in the other corner, the virtual keyboard is always available to us. We can click that quickly. That's a little pop-up keyboard. And that way you can work on channels and get some of the keys that may be a little harder to remember whenever you're using your shortcut keys. So that was virtual keyboard, and ML controls is that's moving light control. So if you have a channel that is a device that does more than just dim up and dim down, all the things that you can do with those that particular fixture will show up here in ML controls. And we'll talk about augmented here after a little while. So I'm going to go back to Live Summary, and I'm going to come to the opposite side of the screen, and I'm going to use this little arrow right here and click that. That little arrow, I'm going to move me out of the way. That little arrow shows the Central Information Area. And that's what we're looking at right here. So this is where that you'll open file. So in the File menu, if you'll click that little down arrow, this is where you'll save shows. This is also where you'll open shows. And if you want to start a new show completely, I'm going to double click that and say, do you really want to create a new show? Yes, I'm going to click OK. And it has started a completely new show file for me, and I could save it from there. So in order to save that, double click Save As. Most often you're going to save in the show file archive. You could also save if you have an external flash drive plugged into the console or plugged into your computer, it'll appear right here. But we're going to save in the show file archive, and I'm going to double click on that, and then it brings up this little box that asks, do you really want to save? I'm going to click OK, and you can use your keyboard or you can use the keyboard that pops up on the screen. I'm going to say Sean's CIA test file, and then when I hit return, it will say success. So you have saved your file, which is fantastic. So I'm going to close that up. I'm going to close up the Save As. I'm going to go to Open. So if you have saved a file, or you're looking for it on the show file archive, if you'll click that little down arrow right there. So if you click the show file archive, the files that you have saved into the show file archive should appear right here. At the end of the day, we're going to shut down. If you'll double click the exit little menu item right here, it will ask you if you really want to shut the console down, and you click OK, and that's how we shut down the console at the end of the day. So I'm going to close down this CIA again, and the last thing that I want you to be aware of is this command line. And the command line is where anything that you try to do to a channel or a set of channels or groups or cues, anything that you want to do on the EOS console will show up in this command line. So let's say, for example, I want to make channel 1, okay, I'm going to click down here, channel 1 at full, enter. And if you'll look up here, channel 1 has now come to full. You see the little diamond, the little gold diamond right there? It didn't execute that command until I hit the return key. So I'm going to take that light out now. So out, so 1 at out, enter. And it takes that intensity away. If I want to have the console bring 1 through 20 at full, you see those all those channels, they show up in with a yellow outline around these tiles. These are called tiles or tombstones. You see these channels have been selected now, but it's not going to do anything with them until I hit the return key. The only caveat to that, the only time that you don't have to hit the enter key is if you want to hit out. And there's an out key on your console, and it's the O key on your hotkey. Since all these channels are still selected, you see they have the yellow box around them. If I hit out, it will automatically take them to 0 without having to hit the return key. See, I got an automatic diamond right there. So out and full, you see 1 through 20 is still selected. If I type full, it will automatically execute that as well. So full, and out are the only times that you don't have to hit the enter key. Every other time, make sure if it's not doing what you want it to do, hit the enter. Or if it's not doing what you want to do, delete all the stuff that's in your command line. It might have some bad information in there, and the clear key is your friend. Very often you want to hit that clear key because you'll clear out a whole bunch of stuff. And just keep taking a look at that command line. That's how you'll know what the console thinks you want to do right now. So that's all about the central information area today. And it's all everything that we'll look at in terms of the console. The next thing we'll do is patching. And patching means we're going to assign addresses to channel numbers. That's what we're going to work with next time is patch. So we'll see you then. All right.